Alright, hello there geometry fans, welcome back to Stairs Lair. And I wanted to show you here a pretty similar thing that we're going to do from the previous day's assignment, finding the surface area. It was yesterday of prisms and cylinders. I think that's a little more intuitive, just it kind of makes sense, you got to be measuring around. Maybe the cylinder was a little bit confusing with the going around it, but I think these two, surface area of a pyramid and a cone, are going to be a little more difficult here. Alright, so we're going to start with the pyramid, okay, and all we're going to do is, again, we're going to do the same thing here. I've got my shape, and I have the same shape, old trusty trash can this time. No trash in there. I was a little bit smarter about that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to, I'm just going to kind of fill it out and we'll see what happens here. Got my trusty calculator, and we're just going to measure it by hand. Now again, if you need something to help you measure, I'm not looking for exact measurements like to the precise measure. This is something just to kind of more of a hands-on activity and do it that way. Alright, so I've got my tape measure, just kind of the first thing I grabbed. And it looks like we're doing a pyramid first. Alright, so I decide what shape or what shape the bottom of my pyramid is, right? So if I'm thinking about this as my pyramid, the bottom here looks to be either some type of rectangle or square. I'm not sure if it's a square, so I'm going to go ahead and just put rectangle there. Alright, so it says formula for the area of the base, right? So if we're not sure what formula for area of a rectangle to use, we can just Google it. We do know what we're using. So it says the formula for the area of the base is just length times width, right? I'm going to be measuring this in inches just with my tape measure here. And so if I'm measuring this right here, looks like one way is 9 inches and the other way, hello, is 9.5 inches, right? So again, this is a pretty inexact science, but I'm just rounding it to the nearest half inch, right? So the area of the base is just 9 times 9.5. So we can use our handy dandy calculator. 9 times 9.5 looks like that's 85. 85 and a half. So it looks like I'm kind of cramming too much in here, but it's 85.5. So you want to do the same thing for your shape, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to find each one of these. Now I know that mine isn't a true pyramid, right? And so on the video, if you had a chance to watch it from Tuesday, on Tuesday's daily agenda, I'm not asking for it to be a true pyramid, right? This is fine where it just kind of has a flat surface on top. I know that these are a little bit harder to find. So what it's saying here is the P stands for the perimeter around the bottom of the shape, and L stands for the slant height, how tall it is. We're just going to use this formula right here. Okay? So if I'm thinking about this, the perimeter, right? This is mine right here, not perfect, but if this is 9, right? I know that because of this right here. That means that this one has to be 9.5 and 9.5, right? So if I just go around, 9 plus 9 is 18. 9.5 plus 9.5 is 19. So 18 plus 19 is just 37, right? So there is the perimeter of mine. Now we have to measure the slant height. So again, this is where it's not going to be an exact science, but that's okay. Just measure it from the bottom of your shape all the way to the top, right? And so again, I know that, like I said, mine does not have a point, but it just is 12 high. You would want to measure yours to the point of the pyramid if that's what you have, right? So I have 12 inches high. So I could just go ahead and plug it in. I know my perimeter was 37. I know my height is 12, so I have a half times 37 times 6, times 12, my apologies, half times 37 times 12 is just 222. Now again, just mine, it doesn't have 2 decimals. Some of you might, just depending on what shape yours is and things like that. So again, we're just kind of filling in the gaps. The area of the bottom is just 85.5. The lateral face is just this, so if I add those together, making sure that I don't mess up, that's 307.5. Alright, so right there, that's the pyramid. Okay, we're going to be doing the same thing with a cone. I think a pyramid is a little bit harder just because the differences of the bases vary from your shape to each shape. Alright, so we're going to do the cone here, right? Formula for the area of a circle. We know, at least for me, I'm just going to be measuring this in inches again. So I've got this same cone that I was using. Got this same cone that I was using here, just the top of a lamp. Right, again, to the point that I'm making, my cone, as I said on Tuesday, it does not go to a point. Yours may not either, but we'll get to that part and describe it. So, not as big. I'm going to be measuring the radius again. So if I go all the way across, that's 5 inches all the way across. So the radius, the diameter was 5 inches, so the radius is just 2.5. Alright, so for finding the area of just the bottom of this circle, we know it's pi r squared. Again, as always, feel free to use 3.14 for this. This is where those 2 decimal places, it's 19.625, so just 19.63. 19.63. Alright, so this is the formula for the area of a lateral face, or the slanted side face, right? So we're going to use this formula, pi times the radius times L. Again, L stands for that slant height, how tall this object is. So I already know the radius here. Now I'm just going to be measuring the height. Again, round it to the nearest ½ inch. Looks like 6.5 is how tall this shape is. Get this out of here. So I'm going to be multiplying these 3 numbers right here. 3.14 times 2.5 times 6.5. Again, 2 decimal places is fine. 51.025. So again, just rounding it there. 2.03. 51.03. If I add those 2 together, again, add the 2 rounded numbers together, is just 70.655. Now, one thing I forgot to do on the previous, it's inches squared, and I'll want to go back and fix that here. It does say here, and this is something I'll be looking for, is to make sure that you label this correctly. If you have not done that, even on the cylinder or prism page, feel free just to go back and resubmit it, right? It would be worth getting full credit for not missing those labels. Alright, so that's cones and pyramids, and we'll hope to see you soon.